Happy New Year. Thanks for being here. Let me first talk about Chuck Hagel. You have said and predicted that very few Republicans would vote for him. I want to read you something from former Ambassador Ryan Crocker. As you know, he has been ambassador to Lebanon, Kuwait, Syria, Pakistan, Iraq, Afghanistan, certainly qualified to talk about matters of foreign relations. And he says, Chuck Hagel is a statesman, and America has few of them. He knows the leaders of the world and their issues. At a time when bipartisanship is hard to find in Washington, he personifies it. Above all, he has an unbending focus on U.S. national security, from his service in Vietnam decades ago to his current position on the Intelligence Advisory Council. Mr. Hagel would run the Defense Department. It would not run him. What is, you know, as a senator, you say lots of things that make people angry. You've done that yourself, and it's a long record. You can go back.
Absolutely.
But for now and for here, why isn't Chuck Hagel the man should the president nominate him?
Well, it's a controversial choice. Ryan Crocker truly is a diplomat in the best sense of the word. I like Chuck Hagel. He served with distinction in Vietnam as a listed man, 2 Purple Hearts. But quite frankly, Chuck Hagel is out of the mainstream of thinking, I believe, on most issues regarding foreign policy. I expect the president to nominate people different than I would think. I'm going to vote for Senator Kerry. I don't agree with him a lot, but I think he's very much in the mainstream of thought. Chuck Hagel, if confirmed to be Secretary of Defense, would be the most antagonistic Secretary of Defense toward the State of Israel in our nation's history. Not only has he said you should directly negotiate with Iran, sanctions won't work, that Israel must negotiate with Hamas, a organization, terrorist group that lobs thousands of rockets into Israel. He also was one of 12 senators who refused to sign a letter to the European Union trying to designate Hezbollah as a terrorist organization. He has long severed his ties with the Republican Party. This is an in-your-face nomination by the president to all of us who are supportive of Israel. I don't know what his management experience is regarding the Pentagon, little if any, so I think it's an incredibly controversial choice. And it looks like the second term of Barack Obama is going to be an in-your-face term. I'm not going to talk to you at all about the debt ceiling, and here's my Secretary of Defense nominee that's going to get a lot of bipartisan concern.
Well, let me ask you, he is the president. He did win. You say all the time, elections have consequences.
Absolutely.
One of the consequences is,
they do,
barring some horrible felony or something awful, the president ought to get the cabinet he wants, and he wants Mr. Hagel. And that's the kind of thing in the past you have said to fellow Republicans when you supported not so popular nominees from Democratic presidents.
And I will continue to support people chosen by President Obama that I would not have chosen. Senator Kerry has a lot of different views than I do. We're on the opposite ends of the political spectrum, but I respect him. I think he's a thoughtful man. I think he's in the mainstream. I'll have a hard time voting for anybody to be Secretary of Defense who believes that the surge was a foreign policy blunder. I'll have a hard time supporting anybody for Secretary of Defense who believes that the Iranians are misunderstood. We should just negotiate with them, not sanction them, and to ask Israel to negotiate with Hamas, who's trying to kill Israeli children, and not to recognize that Hezbollah is a terrorist organization, and to be so wrong on Afghanistan is probably going to be a bridge too far for me and a lot of others. This is a controversial pick. He is an antagonistic figure when it comes to the State of Israel. It's a signal you're sending to Iran at the worst possible time and to our allies.
Are you opposed?